What's up, Taiwan? I'm Louise with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Gaza is facing an increasingly severe humanitarian crisis as Israeli airstrikes continue to pound the enclave. Injured Palestinians and foreign nationals have begun entering Egypt through the Rafah border crossing under a deal mediated by Qatar. A Taiwan passport holder was among them. It's the first time people have been allowed out of Gaza since the Israel-Hamas war began on October the 7th, when Hamas launched a deadly attack on Israel. The only hospital serving cancer patients has been forced to close after running out of fuel, while another hospital is running on a backup generator. Gaza is short of food, water and other supplies. Its health ministry says over 8,800 people have died in Gaza. The US is preparing to hold rare talks with China on nuclear arms control. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. The report cited US officials as saying the two sides hope to reduce the risk of nuclear miscalculation. A Pentagon report released in October said China is on track to have more than 1,000 nuclear warheads by 2030. For more on what's expected from the talks, our reporter Jaime Ocon spoke to Kitch Liao from the Global China Hub at the Atlantic Council.
How significant is the fact that the U.S. and China are going to hold pretty rare talks on arms control, specifically nuclear arms control?
No, this is a good thing because, this is the first chance they actually get to do a high-level meeting in 4 years. That's what Xiangshan is about. They tried this with the G20 back in 2021. It didn't go anywhere. We've known Chinese are increasing their nuclear warheads on the numbers for a few years now. And there hasn't been any explanation as to why. And it's a really good thing that, this is happening. We know, operator level talk has been going on, but higher level contact has been very rare. And that's dangerous, for conventional, deconfliction, let alone, nuclear intentions.
Looking at the recent Pentagon report that was released in October, China is on course to possess an arsenal of almost 1,000 nuclear warheads by 2030. Is this part of that motivation for the United States to look to communicate with China on this matter?
So there's a lot of talk about warhead counts, but I think it's also important for us to understand, warheads is warheads. There is, the value of messaging over there, but survivability of their nuclear arsenal, how many of those warheads are actually useful. There's a lot of unknown right now, and that's really not a good thing. When your neighbors started stockpiling nuclear weapons for no reason at all, it's crazy. And it's not just America is going crazy, right? This has regional implications. It's not necessarily a good thing for China either.
That was Kitch Liao from the Atlantic Council, speaking with reporter Jaime Ocon. The US, EU and China have agreed to work together to make sure rapidly advancing artificial intelligence is safe. The pledge was made at an AI summit in the UK, hosted by British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak.
That we've been able to convene such a wide range of people, including not just the US, but also the EU and China, to come together today. Dozens of countries signing the first ever declaration of its sort.
28 countries have signed what's been called the Bletchley Declaration, which warns of potential catastrophic harm caused by advancing AI systems. But some British lawmakers are skeptical of including China in the agreement, given Washington and many European capitals' tense relationships with Beijing. Representing the US, Vice President Kamala Harris urged all leaders to prioritize protecting the public from potential harm.
All leaders, from government, civil society, and the private sector, have a moral, ethical, and societal duty to make sure that AI is adopted and advanced in a way that protects the public from potential harm.
Police in Taiwan have busted a scam that caused investors to lose more than $1 million. Such scams are a chronic problem in Taiwan, but in this case, one of the scammers was a well-regarded employee at a global bank. John Van Trieste has the report.
This man is just another alleged scammer facing jail time. At first glance, his alleged crime, defrauding bank customers in fake real estate investments, isn't unusual. Taiwan's police have busted a string of similar scams over the past few months alone. But this case stands out from recent ones because the alleged scammer supposedly got help from inside the bank and from a reputable banker. The second suspect in this case, surnamed Ke, is a financial advisor. During his time at DBS Bank, he posted online that he'd won a sales award. But police allege he used his client's trust and his knowledge of who had money to run the scam.
跟他接触的被害人说明说，我私底下有一个新的投资管道，那比一般市面上的定存可能好一些。
He focused on those with the biggest accounts, guaranteeing the initial investment and promising up to 26% interest a year. And at first, it seemed genuine. When the scam started in 2019, investors did get paid. But last August, the payments stopped coming. 4 investors blew the whistle. Police now think the banker was funneling the money to the chief scammer after taking a small cut for himself. An initial count puts investors' losses at around $1.5 million. DBS Bank says it won't comment. The banker in question left his job there in 2020, early on in the scam. But he is known to still work at another bank, and it's unclear if customers there may have lost money too. An investigation is still ongoing. The banker is out on bail, but is likely to face legal repercussions too. Though police continue to uncover investment scams, scammers continue to find inventive ways to avoid suspicion and steal unwitting people's money. Luffy Lee and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Foxconn founder Terry Gores' petition to run as an independent in Taiwan's presidential election is being investigated over more bribery claims. Authorities in northern Taiwan are looking at claims that his campaign gave bottles of rice wine to people who agreed to sign his petition. He submitted hundreds of thousands of signatures to the election committee on Wednesday in hopes of getting on January's ballot. Gores' campaign has denied earlier accusations of fraud. Top officials in Taiwan's ruling party have clashed over the issue of nuclear energy, as one more opposition presidential candidate has come out in favor of it. Sally Ensign has more.
It seemed like a U-turn in the ruling party's stance on nuclear power. Taiwan's Premier Chen Chien-jen on Monday said that nuclear energy is green energy.
核电是绿电，但是台湾如果要发展核电的话呢，我们要考虑到这个核废料处理的问题。
Chen's Democratic Progressive Party has its roots in the anti-nuclear movement. It's pursuing a nuclear-free homeland policy which would see nuclear completely phased out in the country by 2025. The Premier's surprising statement was quickly walked back by the Economy Minister, Wang Meihua.
台湾目前的绿电没有包括核电。
The issue of nuclear power is highly divisive in Taiwan, but successive referendums have shown a significant portion of the public supports its continued use. It's these voters that opposition candidates are targeting in Taiwan's presidential and legislative elections in January. Hou Youyi, the Kuomintang's presidential candidate, has been the most vocal in backing nuclear. And on Tuesday, Ke Wen-je of the Taiwan People's Party announced his energy policy. He said he would not follow the ruling party's nuclear-free homeland policy.
如果你不要按部就班，要该怎么做就怎么做，那让那个再生能源慢慢增长 ，OK 的，有把握再把核电停掉，这样不是很好吗？
Some local environmental groups have opposed getting rid of the nuclear-free homeland program. And with polls showing energy security and climate change are important topics for voters, each party's stance on nuclear could be decisive in who takes power in January. Andy Schwer and Sally Jensen for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is working to develop its renewable energy resources by investing in wind farms. But a series of breakdowns has some people worried. Bryn Thomas has the story.
Wind farms like these are a common sight off the shores of Taiwan. They're part of a massive investment aimed at increasing Taiwan's renewable energy. But a series of breakdowns has caused setbacks at a farm commissioned by the country's electricity provider, the Taiwan Power Company. Wind turbines here have gone just 6 months without a breakdown this year, with 2 out of 21 generators out of order for more than 3 months. The government is blaming the problem on growing pains. At an inquiry, the Economy Ministry said the production issues will be ironed out by next March.
离岸一起的部分在去年并网哈，那等于是它是一个新的机组。那并网的时候呢，那在相关的跟环境的这个调教，确实花了比较多的时间。那所以就是因为这样，所以看起来好像是很多机组还没有去发电。
But not everyone is reassured by that explanation. The Thai Power Company paid foreign contractors $770 million for the wind farm, and lawmakers want to make sure they pay compensation for missing production targets.
契约的要求的可用率是89%，去年85%少了4%。
对，
每一个 percent 就2100万，
每一个 percent 就罚2100万，所以现在是少了4%，罚了8400万。
8000多是。
The Taiwan Power Company says they fined the contractor over last year's shortcomings and that repairs and maintenance were covered by contracts. But some are still worried about more potential headwinds as Taiwan tries to achieve its net zero goals. Luffy Lee and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's largest metropolitan area is looking to expand its MRT system to make commutes more convenient and ease traffic. The new line, proposed by the new Taipei city government, would run from the Xiulang Bridge station in New Taipei to the Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall in the capital's downtown. It would also connect with several other lines. It's hoped the subway would help deal with increased passengers looking to go to a new stadium, the Taipei Dome. The plan is under review by the Transportation Ministry. Lion and dragon dances are familiar sights across the Chinese-speaking world. And here in Taiwan, there's a martial artist who also makes the heads used in these traditional dances. Again, Bryn Thomas has the story.
This craftsman in central Taiwan's Nantou County marches to the beat of his own drum. He teaches kids martial arts and drumming and is one of the last people in the area that knows how to make heads for traditional lion dances the old-fashioned way, out of paper mache. It's a dying art, and although much lighter than modern masks, paper mache masks are more fragile and most performers have moved on to newer materials. But that didn't stop Master Zhang Jiafang from spending a year learning the craft. He thinks his work helps preserve local traditions.
这种技艺在我们竹山的话，现在已经很少了，可能几乎没有了。那因为我想说，这种技艺不能让它失传，所以说我才会去寻找这些东西。
He's now passing on what he knows to local youth, hoping to help preserve this very old skill set. Eason Pan and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
Japan is set to pass a package worth around $112 billion to jumpstart its economy. The measures include one-time tax cuts of about $250 per person, as well as a $460 stimulus for low-income households, and an extension on gasoline, electricity and gas subsidies. This comes amid rising inflation in Japan, with food prices increasing by nearly 9% year-on-year in September. But the package is facing criticism from the opposition, and most Japanese say they don't believe tax cuts are appropriate. In US sports news, the Texas Rangers have been crowned Major League Baseball's 2023 champions. It's the first ever World Series title for the team since they were established in 1961. The Rangers beat the Arizona Diamondbacks in 5 games. The final game of the postseason finished on Wednesday, with the Rangers beating the Diamondbacks 5-0. Throughout their postseason run, the Rangers won all 11 of their road games, the longest away game winning streak in playoff history. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, take a look at these Santa Clauses, freshly graduated from Brazil's School of Santa Claus. That time is coming. I'm Louise Watt. Take care and see you next time.